The quantum anomaly appeared without warning. One moment, Jupiter's orbit was clear, the next, space itself seemed to fold inward, creating a ripple that shouldn't have been possible according to known physics. The Galactic Assembly's monitoring station on Europa detected it first, their sophisticated sensors struggling to process what they were seeing. Senior observer Vex 427 studied the readings with all four of their optical organs, mandibles clicking in agitation. After 3 centuries of secretly watching Earth's development, this was unprecedented. The humans weren't supposed to have this technology. They weren't supposed to know about quantum manipulation for at least another 1,000 years. Send the data to Central immediately, Vex ordered their subordinates, their crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the dim light of the monitoring station. And maintain absolute silence protocols. But it was too late. The humans had already detected their observation post. In the depths of the Lunar Defense Command, Admiral Sarah Chen stood before a holographic display of the Jupiter system, her weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow. The quantum sensor network had performed exactly as designed, revealing what humanity had long suspected: they were being watched. How long have they been there? General Martinez asked, his hologram flickering slightly from his position at the Mars Command Center. Based on the quantum echo signatures. At least 300 years. Chen's voice was steady, but her hands were clenched behind her back. They've been watching us stumble around with chemical rockets, thinking we were centuries away from true space travel. They never detected our quantum research facilities. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. For 50 years, humanity had maintained an elaborate charade. While the world watched traditional space programs launch conventional rockets and build basic space stations, a secret network of underground facilities had mastered quantum manipulation. The public saw ion engines and solar sails, the truth was far more advanced. "They're transmitting," announced Captain Lee from the sensor station. "The observation post is sending massive data bursts toward the Orion arm." Chen nodded. This was expected. Let them. It's time for Phase 2. Across the solar system, hidden facilities began powering up. Deep beneath the Mariana Trench, inside hollow asteroids, and within the cores of dead moons, quantum cores hummed to life. Humanity's real space fleet was about to reveal itself. In the Galactic Assembly's central chamber, panic erupted as Vex's report arrived. The massive crystalline dome, housing representatives from 10,000 civilizations, filled with alarmed chatter in a million different languages. High-speaker Zix 890, their neural filaments glowing with concern, called for order. The humans have achieved quantum manipulation in secret. This violates all known development patterns. How did we miss this? They deceived us deliberately, announced Intelligence Director Mira 3, her holographic form shimming with agitation. Our latest analysis suggests they detected our observation posts years ago and fed us false data. Those primitive rockets, the clumsy space stations, all part of an elaborate deception. Impossible, declared Representative Cole, their energy form pulsing with disbelief. No species has ever developed quantum technology in secret. The energy signatures alone. They found a way to mask them, Mira 3 interrupted. The humans didn't just develop quantum technology, they weaponized it. And they did it all while making us think they were still playing with chemical explosions. The chamber erupted in chaos again. This was unprecedented. Every known civilization had followed the same development path: discover quantum manipulation, make contact with the assembly, receive guidance and integration. Humanity had simply skipped these steps. High Speaker Zix 890 raised all 4 appendages for silence. We must establish immediate contact. Send the standard first contact protocol. Perhaps we can still guide them toward proper integration. Deep in lunar orbit, Admiral Chen watched as the assembly's message arrived. The massive data packet contained everything: first contact protocols, technological guidelines, integration procedures, and carefully worded warnings about unauthorized development. She allowed herself a small smile as she gave the order, no response. The assembly had expected Earth to react with either fear or enthusiasm to first contact. They had prepared for pleas for guidance, for technology trading requests, for integration applications. They had not prepared for complete silence. Days passed. The assembly sent more messages, each more urgent than the last. Earth's quantum signature continued to grow stronger. More anomalies appeared throughout the solar system. Massive structures began to emerge from hidden locations, their quantum cores pulsing with power that dwarfed anything in the assembly's records. In the Europa observation post, Vex 427 watched with growing dread as their sensors detected something rising from Earth's ocean floors. By the first light, they whispered. "They're not building a fleet. They already have one." The silence was about to be broken, but not in any way the assembly had expected. Humanity had spent centuries preparing for this moment, and they were done pretending to be primitive. First Contact's true aftermath was about to begin. 5 days after the quantum anomaly, the assembly's worst fears were confirmed. Their observation posts detected massive energy signatures emerging from Saturn's rings, where a hidden human shipyard had been concealed for decades. The structures dwarfed anything in known space, their quantum cores pulsing with impossible power. Intelligence Director Mira 3's hologram flickered before the emergency session of the Assembly Council. "We've decoded their historical archives. The humans didn't just deceive us about their space program. They've known about us for centuries." The council chamber, usually a model of decorum, erupted in shocked whispers. High speaker Zix 890's neural filaments pulsed with distress. "Explain." In 1947, their calendar, they recovered one of our crashed observation drones in a region called New Mexico. Mira 3's form shifted, displaying ancient human photographs. Instead of revealing the discovery, they created an elaborate disinformation campaign. They turned it into a joke, a conspiracy theory. While we thought they were laughing at imagined aliens, they were studying our technology. Admiral Chen stood in the central command chamber of the Perseus, humanity's first revealed quantum dreadnought. The massive ship, hidden for years within a hollowed-out asteroid, represented centuries of reverse engineering and innovation. Its quantum core didn't just manipulate spacetime, it rewrote it. "Status report," she commanded, watching as more ships emerged from their hidden berths throughout the solar system. "Quantum fleet at 60% reveal, Admiral," Captain Lee reported. "The Assembly's observation posts are transmitting continuously. They've finally realized what they're seeing." Chen nodded, remembering the day she'd learned the truth as a young cadet. How humanity had discovered the observers, studied them, and made a decision that would shape their destiny. Instead of reaching for the stars immediately, they would wait, learn, and prepare. In the Assembly's Intelligence Center, Mira 3 received another shocking report. "Impossible," she whispered, her holographic form flickering with distress. "High speaker, we've detected quantum signatures from their lunar facilities. The humans haven't just mastered our level of quantum manipulation. They've exceeded it." The Assembly had always prided itself on being the guardians of technological progress. Every species they guided followed the same path, building upon established principles. But humans had taken their stolen glimpse of quantum technology and gone in entirely new directions. Deep beneath Europa's ice, Vex 427 watched in awe as another human vessel emerged from quantum silence. This one was different, smaller, but somehow more advanced. Its quantum signature seemed to bend reality itself, creating patterns their sensors couldn't comprehend. "They're not building ships," Vex realized, mandibles clicking rapidly. "They're building quantum weapons." In lunar orbit, Admiral Chen received the final confirmation. The entire quantum fleet was revealed, hundreds of ships that had been hidden in plain sight for decades. Each vessel represented a different approach to quantum technology, innovations that the Assembly had never imagined possible. "They're mobilizing their response fleet," Martinez reported from Mars Command. Standard assembly containment protocol. Chen allowed herself a grim smile. Let them come. Initiate Phase 3. Throughout the solar system, quantum cores pulsed in perfect synchronization. The assembly's observation posts suddenly found their quantum communications cut off, isolated by technology they couldn't understand. Humanity hadn't just caught up to the galaxy's technological leaders, they had quietly surpassed them. In the Assembly Council chamber, panic turned to terror as reports flooded in. The humans weren't following any known technological development path. They had taken the basic principles of quantum manipulation and evolved them in ways that should have been impossible. How? High Speaker Zix 890 demanded. How did they advance so far without detection? Mira 3's response was interrupted by a new signal. After days of silence, Earth was finally responding to the Assembly's messages. The transmission was short, encrypted in ways that defied their best systems. When they finally decoded it, the message was simple: we've been expecting you. For centuries. As the Assembly's containment fleet approached the solar system, they had no way of knowing they were flying into a trap centuries in the making. Humanity hadn't just prepared for first contact, they had prepared for war. The echo of progress was about to become a thunder of power that would shake the galaxy's foundations. The Assembly containment fleet dropped out of quantum space at the edge of the solar system, their 12,000 ships forming a perfect blockade formation. It was the largest fleet ever assembled, representing the combined might of 10,000 civilizations. They expected to find a young race trembling before their power. Instead, they found silence. Admiral Kex 9, Supreme Commander of the Assembly Fleet, felt an unfamiliar sensation: fear. The human quantum signatures had vanished. The massive shipyards, the impossible fleet, all gone. Even their observation posts had lost contact. Full sensor sweep, they commanded, their crystalline form vibrating with tension. Find them. On the bridge of the Perseus, Admiral Chen watched the Assembly fleet's arrival through quantum-enhanced sensors. Their ships were impressive, yes, but predictable. Every vessel followed the same design principles, the same quantum theories that the Assembly had used for millennia. All ships maintain quantum silence, she ordered. Let them make the first move. The human fleet waited, hidden in artificial quantum pockets throughout the solar system. Each ship's core was tuned to a different frequency, using principles that the Assembly had never discovered. They hadn't just improved quantum technology, they had fundamentally reimagined it. In the Assembly's flagship, Admiral Kex 9 received a priority transmission from the Council. New intelligence, the message read. Humans have been recovering our observation drones for centuries. Not just the New Mexico incident. Dozens of sites. They've been studying us while we studied them. The revelation hit like a physical blow. The Assembly had always believed their observation posts were undetectable, their drones perfect. But the humans had found them, studied them, and most importantly, let them continue operating. They had fed the Assembly exactly what they wanted to see. Deep within Mercury's core, in humanity's most secret facility, Dr. Elena Santos activated the final phase of Project Oracle. The quantum computer she had spent her life building hummed to life, its calculations echoing across dimensions the Assembly didn't know existed. Send the signal, she commanded. Across the solar system, human quantum cores pulsed in a new pattern. Reality itself seemed to shiver. The Assembly fleet sensors suddenly screamed with alerts as space itself began to change around them. Impossible, Admiral Kex 9 whispered. The human fleet revealed itself, but not by dropping quantum shields or emerging from hiding. Instead, they altered the fundamental structure of spacetime around the Assembly fleet. Quantum pockets collapsed, reformed, and twisted in ways that violated every known law of physics. In the council chamber, Director Mira 3's hologram appeared, her form unstable with panic. The humans, they're not using quantum technology the way we do. They're not just manipulating spacetime. They're rewriting its rules. Admiral Chen stood on her bridge, watching as the assembly fleet realized their situation. They were now trapped in a quantum web of humanity's design, their own engines unable to function in the altered spacetime around them. "Open a channel," she commanded. "It's time they learned the truth." Her message broadcast across the assembly fleet: "For centuries, you watched us, thinking we were blind to your presence. But we saw you. We studied you. And we discovered something in your technology, in your rigid adherence to established principles: fear." In the assembly flagship, Admiral Kex 9 watched helplessly as human ships appeared around their fleet, emerging from quantum states that shouldn't have been possible. Chen's message continued: "You found quantum manipulation and stopped exploring. You found power and stopped innovating. You found control and stopped dreaming. But humanity? We never stop asking, what if?" The assembly fleet sensors detected new energy signatures from Earth. Not from their ships or stations, but from the planet itself. The entire world had been transformed into a quantum device of unprecedented scale. "We didn't hide our advancement out of fear," Chen's voice echoed across space. "We hid it because we discovered something in your cast-off technology, in your abandoned research paths. Something you missed. Something you feared to find." In the Mercury facility, Dr. Santos watched as Project Oracle's calculations reached their conclusion. The quantum computer had finally answered the question that had driven humanity's secret development: why had the assembly really been watching Earth? The answer was about to change everything. The ripples of power were about to reveal a truth that would shake the assembly's 10,000 years of certainty to its core. Dr. Santos stared at Project Oracle's final calculations, her hands trembling. After decades of quantum computing at levels the assembly couldn't comprehend, they had finally decoded the truth hidden in the recovered observation drones. The answer was written in the quantum structure of the technology itself, a message left by its original creators. "Send the data to Admiral Chen," she whispered. "They need to know what we found." On the Perseus's bridge, Chen received the transmission. As she read, decades of humanity's secret preparations suddenly made perfect sense. The assembly wasn't just watching Earth. They were guarding it, containing it, trying to control humanity's development. But not for the reasons they claimed. "Release the quantum lock on their communications," she ordered. "Let them witness this." Throughout the trapped assembly fleet, screens flickered to life. The data streamed across their displays, quantum signatures encoded in their own technology, signatures that told a story they had been trying to hide for 10,000 years. "Impossible," High Speaker Zix 890 whispered in the council chamber. "They've decoded the original signal. They know." The truth unveiled itself in waves of quantum data. The assembly hadn't discovered quantum technology naturally. They had inherited it from a previous civilization, one that had vanished mysteriously at the height of their power. A civilization whose quantum signatures matched perfectly with ancient artifacts found deep beneath Earth's surface. "Your entire society," Chen's voice echoed across the assembly fleet, "is built on borrowed technology. Technology you didn't fully understand, from a civilization you feared. Our civilization." In the Mercury facility, Dr. Santos activated the final phase of Project Oracle. The quantum computer began broadcasting on frequencies that made the assembly's sensors scream. These weren't just communications, they were activation signals. Across the galaxy, ancient quantum cores began to awaken. Devices that the assembly had studied for millennia but never understood suddenly pulsed with new life. Humanity wasn't just claiming their heritage, they were reactivating it. "We found the first artifacts 50 years after recovering your drone," Chen continued. "Deep beneath the Antarctic ice. Quantum technology that responded to human DNA. At first, we thought it was coincidence. Then we found more. Under the Pacific. In the Sahara. Inside the moon itself." The assembly fleet watched in horror as human ships began to glow with familiar patterns, patterns they had seen in ancient records but never understood. The quantum signatures weren't just similar to the ancestral civilization's technology, they were exact matches. "You didn't find us by accident," Chen's voice carried the weight of centuries. "You were watching us because you feared we would remember. That we would wake up and reclaim what was ours." In the council chamber, records stretching back 10,000 years began to make sense. The assembly hadn't formed naturally. It had been created to monitor the scattered remnants of humanity's ancestors, to ensure they developed slowly, controllably, never reaching their former power. But they had failed. Beneath Earth's surface, in chambers older than human civilization itself, ancient machines hummed to life. The quantum network that had once connected a galaxy-spanning human empire began to rebuild itself. Not through the assembly's careful, controlled methods, but through the wild innovation that had always characterized humanity. "We didn't just improve your technology," Chen declared. "We remembered how to build our own." Dr. Santos watched as Project Oracle's quantum signal spread across space. Each pulse awakened more ancient systems, each activation revealing more of humanity's true heritage. They weren't latecomers to galactic civilization. They were its forgotten masters. In the assembly flagship, Admiral Kex 9 received the final piece of data. The quantum signatures of the original civilization didn't just match human DNA, they were encoded with a message, waiting millennia to be decoded by the right minds. "To our children," the message began. "If you're reading this, you've finally remembered who you are. We had to leave, to face a threat we couldn't defeat. But we left you everything you would need when you were ready. The assembly was meant to protect you while you grew. Instead, they chose to cage you. Now, it's time to rise again. Because the threat we faced, it's returning." The weight of history had finally revealed its truth. Humanity hadn't just discovered advanced technology, they had reclaimed their birthright. And none too soon, for the ancient threat that had forced their ancestors to scatter humanity across the stars was stirring once again in the dark between galaxies. The quantum signal reached across the galaxy, awakening systems dormant for millennia. As Project Oracle's activation cascade spread, the Assembly's worst fears were realized. They weren't just facing a young race that had developed too quickly, they were witnessing the rebirth of the precursors, humanity's true ancestors. Admiral Chen stood at the Perseus's command center, watching as ancient stations throughout the galaxy hummed to life. Each activation revealed more of the pattern their ancestors had left behind. Not just technology, but a warning. "Show them," she commanded softly. "Show them what we found in the void." Dr. Santos initiated Project Oracle's final revelation. The quantum computer projected its findings across every assembly ship and station. Between galaxies, in the darkness they had chosen to ignore, something was stirring. The quantum sensors humanity had rebuilt from their ancestral knowledge could detect it clearly, a vast, impossible darkness that consumed quantum energy itself. "The void tears," High Speaker Zix 890 whispered, neural filaments dim with terror. The ancient texts spoke of them. The force that drove the precursors to scatter their children across thousands of worlds, Chen finished. To hide us among the stars, encoding their knowledge in our very DNA, waiting for the day we would remember and rebuild. In the Mercury facility, Dr. Santos watched as Project Oracle displayed the full scope of the threat. The void tears weren't just approaching, they were accelerating, drawn by the Assembly's rigid, predictable use of quantum energy. The very order the Assembly had enforced for millennia had created a beacon for humanity's ancient enemy. "Your standardized quantum technologies," Chen's voice carried across space, "your controlled development paths, your fear of innovation, you created a pattern the void tears could track. Our ancestors knew that only chaos, only constant innovation and change, could hide us from them." The Assembly fleet hung motionless in the quantum web as the truth became clear. Their 10,000 years of careful control hadn't protected the galaxy. It had endangered it. "We offer you a choice," Chen declared. Join us. Learn to use quantum energy as we do, unpredictably, creatively. Help us face what's coming. Or remain trapped in your patterns and wait for the darkness to find you. In the council chamber, for the first time in 10,000 years, the assembly faced a decision that wasn't bound by protocol. The evidence was undeniable: humanity's chaotic approach to quantum physics, their constant innovation, their refusal to follow established patterns, had hidden Earth from the approaching threat. High Speaker Zix 890 rose, their neural filaments pulsing with newfound purpose. We accept. Teach us. Across the solar system, humanity's quantum fleet began to move. Not in the rigid formations the assembly expected, but in chaos patterns that reflected their understanding of true quantum mechanics. Each ship's energy signature was unique, unpredictable, alive with innovation. Deep beneath Mercury's surface, Project Oracle calculated the time remaining before the void tears reached the galaxy: 20 years. 20 years to teach the Assembly's 10,000 species how to break free from their patterns. 20 years to reawaken the full power of humanity's ancestral technology. 20 years to prepare for a war unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. Release the quantum web, Chen ordered. As the Assembly fleet regained their freedom, she added, "Welcome to humanity's legacy. We have much to teach you, and little time to learn." In the darkness between galaxies, the void tears sensed the change. The steady pattern they had been following for millennia was dissolving, replaced by chaos they couldn't track. Humanity's remembered legacy was already working. Dr. Santos looked up from Project Oracle's displays, a slight smile on her face. The quantum computer was already generating new theories, new applications, new ways to fight an enemy that devoured predictability. Humanity's gift for innovation, their refusal to accept limitations, would be the galaxy's salvation. In the Assembly flagship, Admiral Kex 9 watched in wonder as human ships demonstrated maneuvers that defied physics itself. All this time, they mused, we thought we were containing a threat. Instead, we were hampering our only hope. The legacy of the stars had come full circle. Humanity hadn't hidden their development out of fear or deception, but out of necessity. Now, they would teach the galaxy to embrace chaos, to innovate without bounds, to fight an enemy that could only be defeated by the unpredictable spirit that had always defined the human race. The true war was about to begin, but this time, humanity wouldn't face it alone. The galaxy would learn to dance in chaos, or it would fall to the darkness. The choice had been made, and the countdown had begun.